hope everyone's doing well today. I just wanted to say thanks very much for everyone who has subscribed to the channel of late. I'm really flabbergasted, actually, to be honest. 92 people, I know that probably sounds pales in comparison to many other channels, but for me it's 91 more than I ever expected to get, so thanks very much for that, it's really appreciated. So I've had a lot of comments about the grass and work that I've been doing on the grass, etc. So on Thursday I think it was, I did some verticutting on the grass to thin out the sward. It's been, obviously as the grass grows, you know, you get some necrotic growth down in the soil layer, and down near the soil layer. So I found that just by cutting into it with a verticutter, it just opens it up a little bit, and it also helps to get out a little bit of this debris that's sitting down in the soil area. But in terms of the grass health, I would say it's looking okay. It's not quite as good as the front grass is looking this year, and that's because I haven't been as aggressive on the feeding regime. The thing about feeding is, feeding your lawn will enhance it significantly. It makes it look amazing. It's a living organism. It's the same as a human body. You feed it vitamins, you look after it, your body will say thanks for that. You know, you'll get good health in general. Not that you can see that I've got any kind of good health, but that's my issue. But in general, with the lawns, if you feed it consistently with granulated feeds, which gives you a long-term feed regime in the grass, as well as the liquids, which if you do every sort of 2 to 3 weeks, you'll get a really nice lush lawn. But doing that's quite expensive in general. So I think last year when I did this lawn, I was feeding it every 3 weeks with liquids, and I was feeding it with granulated every 4 to 6 weeks. But that kind of process costs about, I think last year it cost about £1,500. It was a lot of money to maintain your grass. Now, this year I've done a lot of work on the grass already, you know, so verticutted it, scalped it, scarified it, you know, took it right down, overseeded over the top of the existing grass that was here, and then put on a significant coverage of field compost in the UK, and it's come up a treat, but it's starting to really need the feed. And you have to balance in gardening. You can't do everything that you want to do, right? You know, all this costs money. You know, plants, you know, materials, adding new flowers to the garden, shrubs, you know, improving the stones area that I had over there, and everything. It all costs money. This year I've invested in Allett Stirling with all the cultivation cartridges. I've bought some machines to make the life in the grass better and easier to maintain. But all of those devices and everything cost money, and a significant amount of money. It's not a small investment. So if you look at things like an Allett Stirling, I've got an Allett Stirling 51, and it's, you know, got the 6-bladed cartridge, it's got the Scarifying cartridge, and it's got the verticutter grooming cartridge, which is more blades in a vertical stack that give you that intensive cultivation in your grass to open things up and, you know, tear out the side shoots and everything like that. But, you know, that's with a battery. I got the 10 ampere battery for it. All of that was nearly £6,000. That's a lot of money. So you have to balance everything. Not everyone's got thousands and thousands of pounds that they can spend every year on gardening. So for me, I wanted to get the tools to help me get on with things, but I think now, you know, I need to spend a wee bit of money on the feeding regime to keep the grass going, to keep it looking good for you guys that are watching out there. So I want to kind of take you on the journey of what I'm going to be doing today. So I'm going to cut it with a Stirling. It doesn't need to be verticut, it's already been verticut. And I probably will I'll put the Scarifier cartridge in, and I'll just do a light comb over the top of the grass profile. And then I'll come through and I'll cut it with a cylinder at 23mm, and I'll let you see that process as I'm going through it. But in general, everything's starting to look good. Over here in the garden, I've got the hydrangea. Now, I would expect that to start flowering in the next, probably the next week to 2 weeks, probably. This rowan tree here, which is just incredible, we planted this in this pot in late April, and it was pretty much just a twig. Now, as you can see, the twig used to be this height down here, and it's now coming away up here, and it's lovely and healthy. The twig that was a twig is now a substantial trunk that's starting to develop in there. So we've kind of been saying it's graduated from nursery and it's going into preschool now. So yeah, it's looking good. The other thing that's constantly on my mind is this stuff here, acorns. So we've got a tree just up here, and this tree is kind of constantly depositing this kind of stuff into the garden. And we've got a neighbour's tree who just deposits everything in the grass here. So yeah, not the greatest for looking after lawns and things like that in the gardens, but in general I'm really pleased with how things are going at the moment. I will be getting some new, decided as I said to get some new feeds in a few weeks, which I can then start getting down on the grass, and that should start making a difference to the growth of this grass and health of this grass. Next year I'm going to be killing this off like I did the front lawn, and I'm going to be reseeding it with the pure ryegrass mix, and again putting on the lovely field compost and getting that growing here so that the front and the back are exactly the same in terms of lawn development. The other reason I've not been posting as many videos, just want to be completely transparent, is I'm in the process of selling an apartment at the moment. So I'm just getting it ready for sale, so that's been taking my time away from the garden, and you know, that's on your mind constantly. So yeah, it's this become a real passion over the last sort of 18 months or so, and it's really good for your head and your body and your mind. So yeah, really enjoyed it, and long may it continue. But I'll take you on the process, I'll show you what I'm going to be doing, and then we can see how things go. So welcome back. What we're doing here, so I'm putting in Scarifying cartridge into it. Sometimes it's just a bit pernicky to get it in, but you just put the cartridge in, fold down these two bits, and then push the drive gear down, and that's it locked in place, so it's perfect. I've got it set at 0 on the cultivation side, and then get that in. Battery's not in yet, so I'll just get the battery as I'm coming up here. £10 amp battery, and I've got 3 bars on it, so it was charged a couple of days ago. So that's it locked in, and what we'll do is I'll do a couple of passes just in front of the camera so you can see what I'm doing, and then I'll bring back and show you the material that I'm taking out. So this is a big lawnmower, it's not lightweight, so yeah, it does take a wee bit of getting used to, but it's fantastic because you've got good control. So I'm going to turn it on now. You'll hear it spinning up, and then just run it through your grass. And this is really good for your grass. This is like those haircuts that you get with those scissors. You know, the ones I'm talking about, the ones that kind of tug at your hair. This is just taking out a very top layer of, this is a light Scarify, just to get rid of some of the dead material that might be sitting down in the grass. And you'll start to see the stripes will really appear really well. And it'll look like it's taking a lot out, and it does. It takes a lot out of your grass, but this is really, really good for your lawns. And I'll show what comes out right now. So this is the stuff that comes out. You can see it. It's some soil, some dead materials, all that kind of dead grass that's sitting down in the lower canopy of the grass, and it's quite wet and sweaty. Don't really like that stuff. And you can imagine that's sitting down there swamping the profile of your grass, and it's just horrible stuff. So look at how much is coming out and what you're left with. It looks a bit bad, but you need to do this as part of a regular maintenance profile. And when it rains and you water it, it'll recover. You feed it, it'll recover faster. So do this and you'll end up with a lovely lawn. But there it is there. See it? Horrible stuff. Just get it out your lawn, get it in the bin, and stop worrying about it. You'll see that there's a whole bunch of stuff comes out and it doesn't go in the grass bin. That's my only criticism of the Allett, is it just doesn't capture grass very well. But I suppose that's just, it's just the nature of the beast. So it's not always going to give you the best, but it's an amazing bit of kit. I'd rather have this than any other lawnmower, to be honest. So let me just empty this. I'm just going off camera just now while I'm going over to the bin. And that's 4 stripes. And I've already taken out a grass box of grass. And that's not really even on the deepest setting on the lawnmower. That's just on the setting 0. So you can imagine if you've got stuff down there, if you didn't do this, you would just be all over the place. So get this stuff out your lawn. Nasty. Let your lawn breathe. So I'll keep going. So what you're really doing here is you're power raking, right? You're not really scarifying, even though there's too many different people have different opinions on what scarifying actually is. So scarifying, in my opinion, is what you use when you use a bladed scarifier that cuts into it. But in the world of Allett, they call that a dethatcher, so you're getting rid of that sort of top layer and cutting down into the sward. But I prefer calling this a power raker because that's kind of what it's doing. It's raking through the surface of the lawn and it's just opening things up a little bit, getting rid of that dead material that's sitting down in the canopy towards the soil. And you can see it looks a bit horrible for a wee bit of time to come, but it's worth it. If you do this as part of a good maintenance cycle, your lawn will be thankful for it. And you can see it actually really makes the stripes pop out as well. So it's nice. So I've done another maybe 8 stripes there, and I filled the grass box again. And you're just constantly on top of this thing. It's just a constant battle. So this is what we've got, this material. It's a lot of brown side shoots and sweaty. It's sweaty, it's not nice. And you're just getting rid of that, making space in the grass. So once I've done this, I'll get my cylinder out and we'll get it cut in a different direction. So I'm cutting it in this, or scarifying it, or power raking it, whatever you want to call it, wherever you are in the world. Each to their own. I'm not saying it's not called a scarify or whatever, but in my world this is a power rake. And I'll switch over to the cutter shortly, once I've done this activity. This is the benefit of the Stirling and the Allett range, is you get all these cultivation cartridges as part of the range that you can buy. So this lawnmower is like a one-stop shop for looking after your lawn, really. As I said before at the start of the video, it's a significant investment. It's not a thing that you're just going to get a use out of once or twice a year. This is a machine that you will use all the time. So I'm just going to go round here. I'm going to go round the perimeter of the grass. The good thing about the power rake attachment, the scarifier, as Allett call it, is that you can set it quite high and just use it as a comb to comb through your grass. And what that will help you do is just control what it is and get rid of any unsightlies from your grass. So that again, that's me filled it again. Filled another. That's all you do, is fill grass bins and everything like that. So getting rid of all this kind of garbage that kind of clumps up in your stuff. But that's the first bit done. And as I said, your grass will always look worse when you do something like this. So what I would always suggest is get your feed on as soon as possible and water it, and it will help it recover. Get some spray on it. I'll show you the grass bin when I'm finished. Get your spray on it and start that process, but you can see the results. Beautiful stripes, and that's without cutting it. So I know here that I started down that end and I came up this stripe, and I'm going to go back this way on the next stripe over, just about sort of here. I don't want to go over the stripe too much because I just want to kind of maintain these gaps. So get it going again. What I tend to do is just try and go around the diamond, or just go up the diamond that you're working. Got this grass with diamonds. And then do your overlap. And just keep going. And you'll find if there's other areas of your grass that have been looked after, you might not pull out as much thatch and as much debris in different parts of your lawn. So it's just a matter of just going through it, just keep on top of it, keep a firm hand as you're going around it. and just end up with this beautiful looking grass. And bear in mind, this is what, the 5th of July, so we're kind of right at the start of the summer season. So you can do these kind of cultivations throughout the year, and in fact, I'd recommend it because it will always come back. When you go to the hairdresser, right, and you get a haircut, and you maybe, if you're a gentleman, you maybe get a, was it a number 1 or something like that, right? Well, your hair will always grow back. So now, I'm just going to be going right down the other side, but I'll do that in a minute. So, just kind of keep myself working forward. Hopefully the camera can still see me, but you can see things are starting to maybe look worse on camera. But in general, it's looking nice. There's wee patches everywhere. And when you do a Scarify or a power rake, it stands everything up for you, so that when you come over with your cylinder cutter, you can take the tips off. It just polishes everything up a little bit for you. So think about the Allett as like a sort of ultra high definition television. It just, when you add really good features to it and specifications, it just dials up the performance and the look of your garden. Rotaries are fantastic, and if you can get yourself a rotary mower that's got a roller on the back of it, really good quality rotary mower, like in the UK you've got the Hater Harriers. I'm actually waiting until next year to replace the Ego that I've got. I just bought an Ego because I needed something really quick to get started. But I'm going to get the Hater Harrier 48 Pro to match nearly the width of that, because that's the 51 Stirling, so that's a nice wide Stirling, so those stripes will near enough match. And the Stirling is good for that, but it's not good at really controlling sort of depth, height. The Stirling is anyway. It's not very good at controlling all that kind of heavy grass growth, even though it can cut to that kind of level. Can cut up to 50 mil. I just find that the rotary mowers just do a better job of handling longer grass. So at the sort of the periods of time in the autumn and the winter, and then into the following spring, when your grass is maybe a bit long, a bit unsightly, then I'm generating a huge amount of grass. Yeah, so Hater Harrier 48 maybe next year. Alternatively, I've also seen the Stiga 950 VR electric, which I really like. I'm not going into petrol ever again. Petrol's just too much. It just smells and a lot of maintenance required, and yeah, just not what I'm looking for at the moment. Quite like the battery mowers. They just give a really good, they're really clean, they're quiet, they don't smell, you can store them upright, a lot of them, so you don't have that problem of oil flowing out or having to empty it every time you want to do that. So yeah, I'd recommend them. So, can't really see me at the moment. So what I'll do is I'll switch the camera around so that you can see me. So if I come around here, you'll see it better. So yeah, really nice. This is a great machine to use. I had a wee bit of grief at the start, but I think, to be honest, this lawnmower, I had an Atco before, an Atco Balmoral, and that just worked all the time. You took it out of the shed and you just went in and you started using it, and it just worked. It's just an easy machine to look after. You didn't really need to do much in terms of, you know, tweaking, tuning. It just always seemed to maintain its height of cut all the time. Whereas what I find with the Allett is once a week I have to take the cartridge out, the cutting cartridge, and just tweak it to the bottom blade. And I find that if you do that, it just seems to work better than necessarily having to go through the pain of not getting a really good clean cut across the entire blade. So yeah, I'll just keep going, and you can see the process. It's not a fast process, so you just have to enjoy the experience. When you're cutting in the wind, it's kind of hard because the grass goes everywhere when you're cutting against the wind. But you just end up with such a lovely looking lawn, and we haven't even cut it yet. This is just cultivating it. We're doing cultivation processes, and this will guarantee, if you do it right, will guarantee that your lawn will look better for longer. It's kind of counterintuitive, I know that, because I didn't believe it myself until I started really doing it last year. So on the Atco, it's a very similar cartridge, especially the older style Atcos, because Atco was moved into, Allett bought the rights for them, for the cartridge design and the system, for the sort of the consumer mowers. And now it's part of their portfolio, but the ones I had, it's my dad's old one, and it's kind of, it's really, it was a great lawnmower. I'm actually selling it on eBay soon, so if you're interested, watch out for that. So that's another grass box filled, nearly there. We can nearly get cutting soon. So you can just see the process. It's not a difficult one, quite easy. Just thinning this grass out, getting rid of all this material, detritus, everything that's in the sward. It's clumping up your grass, suffocating your growth. Just getting it out of there, making room. Just getting it in there. And you just end up with all this gunk that just sits. Just look at that, it's horrible stuff. Just dialing up your lawn, it just looks incredible. Absolutely incredible. So we're nearly finished with the power rake, and it just makes everything look amazing. So I'll show you in a minute what the finished result is with the Scarifying once I finish off this bit. If anyone can't tell, I'm OCD, so I like everything to look its part. And then, as I said, just keep on top of it. just keep going, mindful of where your stripes look. So I know I've got a good overlap here. So if I just keep on top of these overlaps, I know roughly where I'm going to be ending up on the other side. You just observe through it. It's like looking through the looking glass. You just want to observe where your stripes are on the other side. So for me, it's a wee bit tougher because the pergola's in the way. But as long as I follow my pattern, I'm all right. And I can see him still in line on the other side, which is good. Okay, so we're still in line, still good. And there we go. Like that. So, how does that look? What does it look like? Let's see what you think. These are the results. And this isn't even cut. This is just purely with this guy here. This is the results you can sort of get. And as you can see in the sunshine, it looks, the grass still looks really, really green and really, really healthy. And in terms of what's in the grass, oh, this, look at it. Sweaty, damp, suffocating your grass. You can see it, it's all sort of browns and yellow and some green. But this was all in this grass, and yet that's what it looks like now. Incredible. Really pleased with how that looks. And you can see, sensational. Every bit of it. And yeah, you can see some browning down here. But this part of the grass here is always in shade. So it just needs watering, some application of seaweed and some feeds to bring it back to life. But you can see the results speak for themselves. So this is scarification or power raking, and these are the results you can achieve just by doing that. So ever so slightly offline on these stripes, but it's not too bad. Getting a different view of the garden here, and it's all because of this big guy here. So everything's looking amazing. Dahlias are popping out. This used to look horrendous a couple of weeks ago. It's now looking a lot better. And we can see we've got the Scarify power rake cartridge in, and we've filled up that bin, and that's the material that you're pulling out. Horrible stuff. But as I said, I started on 3 bars and I'm down to 2 bars now. So doing the grass has resulted in losing a bar of energy to achieve this finish. So I'm going to swap over to the cutting cartridge, and you'll be able to see the result of what that looks like. So all the plants are looking really good. Lovely development of the plants, looking great. And I'll put it back on camera, back onto the stand here. Give you a little bit of a better perspective on things. like that. So I'm just going to go off screen a minute while I get the lawnmower ready, the cutting cartridge and everything. So the cutting cartridge is on the table where the camera is sitting at the moment, and just next to where you're watching this from. And what we're going to do is we're just going to empty the last bin, and then we'll switch over, and then we'll do the stripes the other direction. So it's power raked in that direction, stood everything up, and now that's now the grass bin pretty much filled. Three-quarters probably. So the one thing you've got to remember is when you're cultivating, there's settings on the lawnmower. On the right hand side there's a dial. So when you switch over back onto your cutting cartridge, you need to remember and dial that up a wee bit. So I'm bringing that back up to 23mm for my cut. The grass, which is there. And then I'll switch over to the cutting cartridge. So open up the Allett. Take the cartridge out. This is the cartridge here. Nice big wide cartridge. And then switching back over to the cutting cartridge, which I tuned a few days ago, so it's still good. So I'll put that one down there. And you got the big cutting cartridge here, which is rather heavy. It's about 15 kilos. It's a pretty chunky bit of kit. You get it into the lawnmower, you seat it down like that, push the sides, push this bit down to there, it's locked in, and grass on that side. So how do we cut it? So we've gone this way, and now we're going to go that way across the grass. So I'll start over on the other side. Probably actually come back here behind the diamond. So a bit there. Get your lines and then just start. So here we go. So that's the cutting blade on now. Now my lawn isn't 100% flat. It's better than it was last year because I added a whole bunch of levelling topsoil with sand to level out certain parts of it, so it's not 100%. But now it's a lot easier across this direction. There used to be a hump to my right hand side. It was a nightmare. And it used to dig into the grass when you were cutting it. So it's a lot easier now because this area all here is levelled pretty much. It's not 100% as I said, but anything's better than what was here before. So one of my subscribers asked me a question the other day, said, is these one takes? Yeah, they pretty much are. One take Larry. I don't really like super editing my videos. I just let the videos do the talking. So gardening's not about lying about the process. If I make a mistake, I'll own up to it like I did last year. I burned the lawn with fertiliser because I didn't stop when I needed to, and I actually burned the side of the lawn, which wasn't great. But that's, as I said, it's part and parcel of the process. Just keep going back and forward, back and forward, back and forward, and you'll get to the end and it'll look great. You have to take everything when it's in Scotland, because this is where I am at the moment, so it can be a bit of a challenge with the weather. Hot, like May was just amazing. 4 weeks of nothing but sunshine. It was actually getting boring. I was starting to kind of pray for some rain. But yeah, all joking aside. And then what I do is just finish off the stripe. This will be a slightly narrower stripe than the rest of it. And I'll just go round the lawn just now on the edges while I've got the cartridge in. You'll find it to not take very much off in terms of cut. So that's stripes in this direction done for half of the grass so far. Just clear out some of this out. The rake always catches a good chunk of it. That's always a good sign. If you've got good coverage on your rake, it'll stand the grass up and you'll just end up with a nice cut. So I'll just show you what's coming out. It's not very much, as I said, I cut it on Thursday, so this is how it's looking. So you're cutting off all those tips that were standing up. The most part, it's green, there is some brown in there, but that's because of the stood up parts of the grass, but still look nice, and the blades are still getting cut nice and cleanly. You can always tell when you need to adjust your cylinder cartridge, because the blades look like they're, grass blades look like they're kind of getting shredded rather than cut cleanly. So just got to be mindful of that. And you'll end up with some nice stuff. So you can't really tell, the stripes are still seen in this direction, you can still see them. They're starting to create this nice crisscross pattern on the grass that looks really, really good. So what I'll do now is I will turn the lawnmower round and I will just go up here and I'll spin over to this side. What you want to do is try and not mess up your nice clean line that you've got in the grass. You can always go back over this one on the other way, but I try to keep it just nice and sweet and just line up where you're going to go. So I can see the two on the back of the lawnmower here for the sound is at the edge of the roller at the back, edge of the roller at the front. So as long as I keep that two roughly in line with the cut line, I'm okay. We'll see how I get one anyway. What I want to do is just cut this way against the grain of what I've already cut here. Do the same rounded diamond again. fine after that. And then just bring it back, line it up, and there we go. It will look bare on some areas, but I can assure you it will come back. And the prime part of the summertime for me is August. That's where the lawn looks its best, because you've been developing it over the year. And you just keep going, and your grass will just look amazing. So what I'll do is I'll finish off this little bit of the triangle, which is off camera just now. And I'll come over and redo that in a minute to finish off that side. And then what we'll do is we'll go up the stripe here to the other side. Now I'm going to have a slight crossover, ever so slightly. That's okay. As long as you keep your hand firm across the cut, you'll get a nice straight cut. I can see them lined up with the other side and the stripes I've created on the other side. So it's just a matter of continuing that path across your lawn, seeing that process. Fine. This is a challenge when you're next to my clematis here. And just cannot, I need to stop that a minute, because what happens is my trainers, which I have to wear for my foot problems, plantar fasciitis, which is a nightmare, the trainer grabs onto the bark on the other side, which is a pain. So get going again. No matter what I seem to do, it just comes out. And what you'll end up with, hopefully, when you get to the other side, is a nice even stripe, which in this case I have. Which is good. So I've got a stripe up and down, and then what I'll do is I'll just refine this stripe here by just running up the side of the cut, just to dial it up a wee bit. So I'll just get everything in line, turn it on. That's good. So what I'll do is I'll go around the other side now, and I'll just finish off the one, this side. Because I did the Scarify, I find that things aren't quite as, you don't get as many grass boxes of debris out. So just run back this way. Like that. Sharpens everything up for you, gets your lines back. If you can, I tend to stop on the diamonds at this point because it gets a bit too challenging around the corner. So I'll just tend to cut this in a straight line. Like that. Drop it in the centre, about here. And then I'll go around, do another stripe down here. And then what we need to do is we need to come round here, finish off. Yeah, well, I lost my track of what I was actually doing there. And there we go. So, what does that look like on camera? Stripes in a different direction, stripes in that direction. So, scarified, power raked in that direction, and then striped in this direction. and there's what you get. As I said, looking a bit thin and bare around here, but I'll get that back. And this is your results. What do you think? Long video. Appreciate your patience. Here's what you get. And the grass is nice and firm underfoot. And here's the results. Sun shining and playing a part for us today, which is great. And you can see this is the bit. So here is where the grass is. There's a slight dip there. So when the roller goes over, it's creating a ridge, which not great, but what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to get some sports sand kiln dried, and I'm going to layer it into the grass just around here, so just over here and down in this space here, and over time that will start to level itself out. I'll use my one loot just to level it around, but you can see in the most part it's looking alright. Come back into the sun for the money shot. It's looking really nice, really nice. So I'm about to go and do this to my front lawns as well, just to finish off for the day. And then what I'll do is I'll put a seaweed feed on and water it in later on, and that will start helping it to recover a little bit. But there you go, that's what it looks like with this guy. The 6-bladed cartridge, 2 boxes of grass, and about 8 boxes of scarified power rate debris, and this is the results. So hope you like what you've seen today, my rabbiting on Scottish accent, and hopefully that's, you can still see the stripes, yes you can, in the other direction, and then you get this kind of lovely hashed pattern, which is really nice. So I'll just kind of move over here, get a nice picture here. But thanks very much. I'm going to get on with the front for the potential rainfalls coming later. But here we are, this is what it looks like. Thanks for everyone that's clicked on subscribe. If you like this video or you see the short associated with it, can you please drop me a like, a comment, click on subscribe. I'm trying my best to get to 100, but you know, once you get to 100, it's on to 500, on to 1,000, and just follow me along on this journey over the next 2-3 months while I work through enhancing the lawn for August, and getting the stripes on again, and